Hey everyone, Blizzard has just announced the release date for Classic Burning Crusade, which is due on June 1st, just over 3 weeks from now. And on the process, Blizzard also announced the release date for the pre-expansion patch, which is due on May 18th, which means that this is the perfect time for you to learn and get ready for anything that the pre-patch will have to offer. You will have exactly 2 weeks to do all the content that will be made available. So without further ado, let's learn about everything that the pre-patch has to offer and how to do it. The first thing you will be presented with on pre-patch day is your character choice if you previously had any characters on the Classic WoW servers. Do you want to keep your character in the vanilla Classic era servers forever, or do you want to progress them to Classic Burning Crusade? This choice is an important one as you can only have a given character active on one single version of the game, unless you pay for a character clone, which we will get to in a moment. So the moment the pre-patch drops and you log in on your account and server, you will have a green text saying choose expansion under your character name on the character selection screen. Once you click that character, you'll see this screen offering you an important choice that you'll have to make. If you want to keep your character at level 60 and forever in vanilla without any content past Naxxramas unlocked, go ahead and choose I want to play this character in Classic era. If you however want to move on with that character to Burning Crusade, go ahead and choose I want to play this character in Burning Crusade. Keep in mind that this choice is on a per character basis, so you can, if you have multiple characters, have some of them in Classic Era and some others of them in Burning Crusade. And then, if you want to have a specific character on both versions of the game, you can also do that by buying a character clone. A character clone is just what it sounds like. It clones your character in both versions of the game, and it allows you to play on both of them separately with the same character. Your progression on one will obviously not affect the other, but you will get to play both of them on two separate versions of the game. To get the option to use a clone service, you actually have to make the choice that we previously talked about earlier about choosing your game version. Once you do that, to enable your clone, you'll have to go to the version that you did not choose for that character. Once there, you'll see that your character will still be there, but in an inactive state. You'll then be able to click the icon to activate the clone. However, the character clone costs a whopping $35 per character. So that's why I said that the choice you'll be presented with is a very important one, because your only option if you mischose will be to buy one of these expensive cloning services. Alright, let's now move on in-game. At first, during pre-patch, nothing will really look different, except the fact that your character talents have been reset for free, and you'll also notice a title menu on your character tab. From there, you'll be able to select the highest PvP talent you ever reached during the previous 2 years of Classic WoW. If you've been a dedicated player, you'll also have the title Justicar, which requires you to be exalted with all 3 vanilla battleground factions, Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, and Alterac Valley. You'll get to keep those titles forever, so go ahead and select one of them if you have one unlocked. The pre-patch is also a good opportunity to learn or relearn the ropes of your class. Many classes will have many changes once Burning Crusade drops, so make sure to check your class trainer for any new abilities that have been added for you. And also, go ahead and grab yourself a good talent spec from Wowhead or your class Discord. Unfortunately, Burning Crusade did not have any target dummies at the time. Whether Blizzard will add those for pre-patch is yet unknown, so make sure to look around your capital cities for one of those, just in case they add them so you can train your class more easily. Another very important thing brought with pre-patch is Draenei for the Alliance and Blood Elves for Horde, which also allows now the Alliance to have Shamans and the Horde to have Paladins. So one thing a lot of players will be doing is making brand new Blood Elves and Draenei during pre-patch and leveling them to 60 in preparation for the game's launch a couple weeks later. Getting your character to 60 in 2 weeks is going to be tough though for most players. However, on pre-patch and all throughout Burning Crusade, experience gain will be 30% faster in vanilla zones, which will make getting from 1 to 60 significantly faster compared to how it was in Classic. But keep in mind that if you don't have at least a few hours to invest into the game every day for the next 2 weeks, you'll probably not make it to 60 in time. But that's fine, you'll still get to do it after the game releases if you really want to. Along with the new races, we also get a few new zones to explore: Azura Mist Isle, Eversong Woods, and Ghostlands. The first two contain the starting zones and capital cities for the Draenei and Blood Elves respectively, so you'll be spending quite a lot of time here, whether you want to level a new race or whether you're a completionist who wants to get every faction to Exalted. There's also the Isle of Keldanas that will be visible on your world map, but don't worry about that for now. It will be added with Phase 5 of Classic TBC. Along with the new capital cities, you also get the trainers for the new profession, JEWELCRAFTING. JEWELCRAFTING will be a very important profession in TBC as it allows you to create gems to socket on your gear. This profession is probably one of the most profitable in TBC, so a good idea is to get this as high as you can right away in the pre-patch. That way you'll be able to be among the first few players who can make gems in TBC and rake in thousands of gold from the start. Another thing only available during pre-patch is the opening of the Dark Portal event, which will reward you with the famous Tabard of the Protector. For this, you'll have to go to the Dark Portal in Blasted Lands and complete the quest Into the Breach, which you can pick from the NPC Agent Proudwell there. This quest will ask you to kill 6 invading Fel Guards, who are pouring in from the Dark Portal itself. This quest will be sort of a pain to do if you're alone, as the mobs will get tagged very fast by other players. However, a day or two after the pre-patch launches, there will probably be way less players to fight for these tags over. Speaking of PvP, let's talk about the PvP changes which will be taking place in Burning Crusade, which will be enabled right once the pre-patch drops. The old PvP ranking system is now replaced by the arena system and the new honor system. How it worked previously, for those who don't know, is that you'd have to kill a bunch of players randomly around the world, either in the open or inside battlegrounds, to get enough honor to rank up and unlock rewards. This system has been historically hated by a lot of players, and Burning Crusade brought a sweeping change to it. Honor is now a currency that you can use to buy PvP rewards from vendors. You can see how much honor you have by looking at your character's PvP tab. You still get honor by killing players either in the outside world or in battlegrounds, but instead of having it being a hidden stat that determines your place on a PvP ladder every week, it's now a visible currency which you can use to buy rewards directly. Speaking of PvP rewards, during the pre-patch, the requirement to be rank 14 to buy the Grand Marshal gear will be lifted, allowing anyone with enough honor and marks of battlegrounds to buy the best PvP gear that vanilla has to offer. On top of being great for PvP, this gear will also help you a lot in PvE content, including leveling. So if you want to have some powerful gear for your newly boosted or newly level 60 character, you can go ahead and queue some BGs during the pre-patch to buy this gear to give you a significant boost to your leveling speed once the expansion drops. Keep in mind, however, that you will have to run quite a lot of BGs to be able to afford all the gear in here. Depending on how much you win or lose and how much time you have to invest to it, this could take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to get all the gear on those vendors. And then there's the arena. The arena will actually be available during pre-patch, but only for skirmishes. No actual competitive ranked matches will be taking place. To queue up, you'll have to gather either 1, 2, or 4 other friends, and go to your capital city's PvP hall and talk to the goblin there. That will queue you against a random other group on your region, because yes, arena is cross-realm, and so will be the ranked ladder in TBC. Some other small things to note. Meeting stones should be enabled with the pre-patch, so instead of having to run to a dungeon or raid, you can now summon your group or raid members directly to the dungeon's entrance. Mounts are now trainable from level 30 instead of 40, which will further make your leveling process faster. And speaking of mounts, the mount system also sees an overhaul. You now have an apprentice and journeyman riding skill learnable from the mount trainers around the world, instead of the faction-specific riding skills that we came to get used to in Classic WoW. Also, if you haven't bought your 100% mount yet, I suggest you wait for the pre-patch, as it will be slightly cheaper to get your mount then, instead of buying it for 1000 gold now in Classic WoW. However, riding a mount from a different race in your faction still requires you to be exalted with that race. There's actually a trick that we mentioned a couple times on this channel that allows you to ride a different race mount without needing to be exalted if you buy the mount during Classic on a character that can buy it, or get a friend of yours to buy it for you and then trade it to the character that you want to use it on. Because mounts are bind on use on Classic, once pre-patch drops, the mount will just require you to have the usual journey journeyman riding skill and you'll have skipped the need to be exalted. Keep in mind, however, that 1, you need to do this before the pre-patch drops, and 2, not every race can ride every mount, so make your research first before buying a mount from a different race. So the pre-patch will open a whole new meta for the game that players are completely unfamiliar with, the level 60 pre-patch meta. Very little has been documented about the pre-patch back in the day, so a lot of players will be learning the ropes of their class anew at level 60 with TBC talents and abilities. It's a shame that it only lasts for 2 weeks, but it will wreak some very interesting gameplay that no one ever experienced in the past. So now, what will you do during the pre-patch? Will you level a Draenei or Blood Elf to 60 during those 2 weeks? Will you collect the Tabard of the Protector on all your characters? Or will you do PvP to your heart's content while this unknown level 60 meta will still last? Let us know in the comments, I'm very curious to know. So with that, this marks the end of this video. If you found it interesting or entertaining, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next video very soon to talk more about TBC. Bye for now.